Welcome to Couch Conversations, the space where real talk meets God talk.
We're two best friends who love Jesus, deep convos, and a whole lot of laughs.
From relationships and faith to the messy middle of adulting, we're chatting about it all right here on the couch.
So grab your snacks, get cozy, and let's get into it. This is Couch Conversations.
Hi, cousins, and welcome back to another episode of Couch Conversations. We're your hosts, Kelsey
and Deja.
and we are continuing our conversation from the last episode where we talked about forgiveness. So we were defining what forgiveness looks like to us. We were talking about is forgiveness more so for the forgiver or the forgiven. We also talked about what do people often misunderstand about forgiveness, as well as is it more of a choice, a process, or is it both? And also, we concluded with, is it possible to forgive someone even if they haven't apologized or they haven't shown any signs of remorse for whatever they may have done? So, continuing that conversation, and if you haven't checked out that episode yet, make sure you go back and watch it after you watch this one, or you can watch the other one first. That way,
put
you
a
can
pause on it.
Yeah, put a pause on it, put a pin on it. That way, you can kind of catch up on the conversation. And make sure you're commenting, make sure you're subscribing, sharing, liking, following, telling a friend, tell another friend, tell another friend about couch conversations. So, getting back into our conversation, have you ever struggled to forgive someone? What held you back?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Plenty of times. What held me back is my stubbornness. I ain't even gonna hold you. It's my stubbornness. I don't even know if I want to say it's pride too, but me, I could be very stubborn, especially if somebody does something to me or hurt me, like, and I don't feel like you deserve my forgiveness. That is what something that's held me back, like. No, especially if you ain't sorry, it's just like, oh, you ain't sorry. Oh, we can hold on to this, and every time I see you, it's gonna be something. So I think that stubbornness, and I'll say pride, is something that definitely holds me back, and just anger. Like when I get upset, it's very hard for me to let it go. I don't know like what it is, but I guess because I don't bother nobody.
Right.
At least I don't think I do. I stay in my little corner with my little teddy bear. You know, and even before him, I don't bother nobody. Like I be about my business. Like I'm never a person that just go out trying to hurt people.
Right.
So for me, it's like you do that to me. Out of all people, me, bruh. Especially like. There's been people who have treated me a certain way, and I've always been that person who's supported them, been there for them. I think I'm a good friend.
You're not too bad. You're not too shabby.
Not too shabby, you know. I would be my friend. I ain't crazy, y'all, but I would.
She's
be
a
my
great friend.
I am. I'm trying, you know.
You're great.
I don't care about my friends.
11 years?
11 years. For sure. But like in that instance, it's like you did that to me out of all people? Me? Is you serious? Out of all people? Me? That's why like stuff like that what holds me back of forgiving, because I just be flabbergasted. Like, I'm not saying I'm perfect or I do everything right, but for the most part, especially like if it's people like I'm really not close to, I just like that still be like, what? Like I don't even do nothing right. I don't know, like what? But somebody I'm close to does something, I'm like, me. Like again, not saying I'm perfect or anything, but you would do that to me.
It's like, really?
Really? That's what we doing?
Really, bro?
Really, bro? I really be like, oh, I be taken aback. You know, can be really, you know, like, okay. But yeah, have you ever struggled?
Oh, for sure. And I think for me, I think it's more so because I'm an emotional person, not like emotion where it's like, oh, I'm crying.
You're just in tune with your emotions.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I'm gonna cry. But
yeah, me too.
But I feel, and I think I said this previously, but I feel deeply and easily. So, and I always try to see the good in people, and I always try to give them chances.
I'll let that shit go. Oh, yeah.
And I think I've gotten better with that. But I think that's what has held me back previously as far as forgiving people. Because like you said, I'm like, me? Why me? Why am I on me? What did I do? But
your voice getting high up.
But it's like I'm always trying to understand the reasoning. I'm the type that wants to know the why.
You're an owl.
Yeah. I think we talked about that before.
The personalities. Me too. And a dove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I also learned in it was like some type of training, professional development thing that I did at work, where I think I'm like I want to say it's task. I'm kind of a mixture of like 3, but I'm more so task and it's another one. Details, I think.
Oriented.
Yeah. So I want to know the why.
An owl.
Yeah, like why did you do this? Why did this happen? How did it happen? I need all the details.
How did we get here?
Right. I need it all. I don't want no summary. No, I want
no cliff notes. No. I need every bullet.
I need every bullets. Every bullet.
With sources cited in APA
format. Yeah. Yeah. Alphabetical order.
Alphabetical order.
Well, that is part of APA. I haven't done APA in so long.
Listen, I'm ready to stop doing it.
But yes, that I would say that's why I have struggled to forgive people, because I'm trying to understand the why. I'm trying to give them chances, although they may not deserve another chance. Especially if I give you plenty of chances prior to that. And then it's just me feeling it easily.
Yeah.
So that's my bet on my end of forgiving someone.
Yeah. So how does trauma and deep wounds affect one's ability to forgive?
So we kind of touched on this in part 1 of this episode, where we talked about maybe it's something that they're not used to doing. Maybe they don't know how to do it. They don't see the effects it may have had on someone, so they may not think they need to do it. And maybe the times that they have done it, maybe they receive some type of backlash or some type of unaccepting event or something like that. So I think that's how like the trauma and maybe the deep wounds affects one's ability to forgive because of those things. And maybe they just thought, like, when they did it, they saw it as useless because maybe they didn't get the response that they wanted.
Right.
Or maybe another thing could be that when they did it, the behavior just continued to happen.
Right. That's what I was
so they think like, well, if the behavior is going to continue, what's the purpose of me constantly forgiving you, and things like that. Like, it's just at this point, it's just a waste of my time and my energy.
A revolving door, right? Broken record.
As people saying they doing 360, like you're not really doing it.
You see who passed you on?
The 360 is you just going back to
square one.
literally, like you still the same person.
You went from 0 degree to 0 degree. That's it.
You was back where you started. But I'm not gonna go off on that rant today. But yeah.
I think with trauma and deep wounds, it goes back to what you're saying about, like, okay, you forgive a person and they constantly go back and do it. And it's like, it's hard to forgive when you're trying to close up that wound and heal that wound, but that person is still reopening the wound, and it never gets to heal, and it goes deeper and deeper and deeper, because again, you start to internalize it, and it's like, okay, I'm forgiving this person, but they still are doing this to me after they already know and saw how it hurt me and how it impacted me, and they still do it. And then when you have other people in other situations adding on to that wound or creating more wounds, it becomes almost like you harden yourself. It's just like your trauma response becomes like you become guarded and defensive, and that's where the stubbornness come from, or the pride come from, because it's like, okay, I done forgave too many times and look where it got me, nothing but more hurt, because you still doing the same thing. You want the apology, you just saying the words and doing the actions over again, and it gets hard for people. It gets hard. Like, if you going through the same thing, after a while, nobody got to tell you the stove hot after too many times. After the first time, really.
But I think, like, if it keeps happening, you get used to it. So you just like, it's like, okay, it's just like you just brush it off, you just keep going. But that's constantly building up and leaving that wound open.
Right.
But I also want from the perspective of being the forgiver, because we were talking about the forgiving, but as a forgiver, if we're gonna keep putting a band-aid over an open wound, we're not giving it time to heal, we're not cleaning it up, we're not doing anything,
taking care of it.
Right. So it's just gonna keep opening. It may get worse, it may spread, it may just look completely nasty. So it's just like, as a forgiver, we also have to take that necessary step or steps to heal, and also understand that healing isn't something that's going to happen overnight. It's not a linear process. There may be times where I don't want to say revert, but there may be times where
you can still get triggered from what you healed from.
Right. And there may be times you may not be able to take that next step. You may be stuck at that current step, and that is okay. At least you're trying.
Right.
But with those deep and open wounds, if you're not doing anything to fix them or recover, they're just gonna keep getting deeper and deeper.
Festering.
Yes. And then it can spread to other parts, which can then cause other things to happen,
and it start affecting other things like in your life, and it can start changing who you are. And that's something that I dealt with. Just speaking from hurt from relationships, I really was on like the type of time where I'm turning cold-hearted. I don't care about love. I don't care about this. It was basically like, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. Like, I don't care about no feelings. Like, it is what it is. But that's because I was holding on to that hurt and never really addressing that hurt and forgiving those people who hurt me. And it goes back to part one where you asked the question about forgiving those, not necessarily telling them, but like to myself, like, telling myself, like, I'm going to forgive this person. I wasn't on that type of time, and I started letting that unforgiveness and resentment and all those feelings change who I was, because I wasn't a person who's not a lover. I'm a lover girl. I love to love. Okay. And I I was okay with not being in a relationship or having something serious. Or I convinced myself that I was okay with it for
That's
the
the key
fact
word.
of
Yeah.
I just don't want to deal with this. Like, I'm so deeply wounded and traumatized from giving people chances. Because in my relationships, I would say I've gave people multiple chances, then they did not deserve it. And in the end, I just end up being hurt. And then it resulted in me turning into something that I'm not. So I had to peel back those layers and go back and forgive every one of them. And no, I didn't tell them I forgave them. I literally was just like, you know what? I can't hold on to this. Especially those who aren't apologetic. Like, they don't see wrong in what they did. Like, they are okay with what they did and how they did it. So I have to do that for myself in order to take care of those wounds and being able to have the ability to forgive, because then it became like a constant pattern of like, if somebody hurt me, no matter how big or small, I'm gonna hold on to it. Like, I'm just, yeah, no, no, I'm holding on to that grudge. Nothing, and it's just so much weight on you when you don't forgive people, and it takes more energy to be angry and hold on, but it takes more effort to forgive and let go. And I had to decide which one I want to do. Do I want to hold on to that anger and keep exerting that energy and all that stuff constantly, or put in the effort to truly forgive that person? Yes, that may take a lot out of me in that moment, but that's one time compared to every time I think about it or every time I see them, I'm putting in more energy to be upset with them and not forgive them.
So to piggyback off you on what you said about where you kind of started taking on their behaviors, we also have to forgive ourselves in that process as well, because now we're being someone who we know we're not. We have to forgive ourselves for putting ourselves in those situations, especially when we may have had opportunities to avoid those situations or get out of them earlier than we may have gotten out of them. And also, I would say forgiving ourselves for not speaking up as well, and realizing and acknowledging this isn't okay. That's another part we have to take into consideration when we're talking about forgiveness, because we just can't talk about who we're forgiving. We also need to forgive ourselves for whatever part we may have played in it.
Right. That's very true. That's very true, because we do play a part in some capacity.
Yeah, it may not be us contributing to the actual situation how it started, but it may be how we contribute to the situation on the back end,
how it continued, the after effects of it.
Yeah. So why is it often harder to forgive ourselves than others?
I think because we don't show ourselves as much grace as we give others. We don't give ourselves the chances that we give others. And it's like we always blame ourselves for what happens to us. We internalize it like, what did I do for them to do that to me, and not the reverse, or whatnot. It's like we always put the responsibility on ourselves of, one, either why we let this happen to us, why do we allow them to get that close to us for them to do this to us, why did we not see the signs of this person being who they are, why didn't we accept the red flags that they were showing us, or whatnot, and accepting them for what it is and not giving them the benefit of the doubt. Like, we put so much responsibility on ourselves, when it, when things like that happen, and we don't show ourselves the grace that we do give to others. And I feel like sometimes we are our hardest critics. Like, we don't give ourselves the space to like grow and learn from situations. It's just like, oh, you should have known better. Like, you should have known that they was this type of person. You should have known this would happen. So I think sometimes we get in our own way and we put so much pressure on ourselves, that, because of course we're supposed to be our own protector. Like, if nobody protects us, who else supposed to? So then when something happens to us, because we let down those guards and protections, then we looking at ourselves like, why would you do that? You knew that it was an opportunity for stuff like this to happen. Why would you not protect yourself? So I think that is why it's hard for us to forgive ourselves sometimes.
All of that. I completely agree. We are definitely harder on ourselves than we are on others. And sometimes we may let others get in our head as to how we should forgive someone and how that's supposed to look.
Right.
Instead of realizing and accepting, this is how I do it, not how you do it. What works for you may not work for me. Right. And that is okay, because one size doesn't fit all.
At all.
So, and what you forgave somebody for, I was about to say, I may not be so forgiving for it, but that line there.
Yeah, because some things, I'm gonna be honest, I have to dig deep for that forgiveness. Like,
like, if it took you 2 months to forgive, it may take me a year, and that is fine.
Right.
That is completely okay.
Because part of that goes into our standards and our values too. That goes into like our forgiveness. Like,
and just something to add, for this question, where we're talking about it often being harder to forgive ourselves than others, like we were saying in the previous question, in the last episode where we talked about forgiveness being a choice process of both, it's also a choice that the same way we are choosing to forgive the person who is doing the action or whatever the thing, it's also a choice to forgive ourselves as well, in the situation, whether that's for the part that we played in it, whether that's for the healing afterwards, whether that's just whatever it may look like. It's our choice to choose to forgive ourselves as well. We should forgive ourselves. Getting tongue tied. That should be an automatic thing.
It should be the easiest
person. It should be, but I feel like sometimes it may be harder to do that than forgiving others, because it is ourselves, and because we're so hard on ourselves, instead of being hard on other people, we're always hard on ourselves and judging ourselves.
Right.
So I would just add that little bit to it as well.
Yeah. So just thinking about like our conversation, going all the way back to part 1 to where we are now. So for anyone who is listening right now, what would you say to someone struggling to forgive?
Well, I would say, don't be in a rush. Because rushing gets you nowhere. Just like rushing to work or rushing to your appointment, it doesn't get you anywhere.
Right.
You're still going to experience the same traffic or whatever. So rushing to forgive someone isn't really going to give you the results that you're hoping for.
Right.
It can honestly just prolong the healing process. It can prolong the closure and the forgetting process. And realizing that, and this is something we said in another episode before, whose time are you on?
Whose time are you on?
So, not to be in a rush, to forgive the person you're forgiving. And as we talked about, we're also learning not just forgiving, but also forgetting.
Yeah.
And that may be harder as well than the forgiving part of it. Knowing that it's a process is also a choice.
For sure.
Because you have to go through the process of acknowledging the situation, understanding it, and forgiving the person or whatever. And that's gonna be okay.
Yeah,
it will be okay.
For me, I would tell anyone to not put so much pressure on yourself to do it right away, because doing it that way, you're not going to genuinely do it, and you're not going to be intentional in how you're doing it. I definitely say, like how you said, go through your process, like, and don't let anybody tell you how to go through your process or how long your process should be. And like you said, it is a choice, and you have to decide if you're going to make a choice of holding on to those feelings of anger and bitterness and all that, and giving that situation and that person that energy, because then you have to think, like, are they even worth that much headspace and energy for me? Like, even though what they did was pretty terrible, is it worth like holding on to it? And is it costing me my inner peace? Is that worth it? If that person is worth it. But yeah, give yourself grace in those times and stuff. Don't be too hard on yourself,
and not just during the process, even after too.
Even afterwards. Not internalizing the situation and just thinking like what somebody did to you is not necessarily because of you.
Yes,
it could just be of them, their character flaw. Sometimes people project what they're going through on you, and sometimes people, they're saying misery loves company. Sometimes people do things to others because they want them to be in the same headspace that they are in. They want you to feel the anger. They want you to feel the sadness, the bitterness, the feelings of betrayal, revenge. They want you to feel all those things. So not giving into that and not internalizing it and thinking that it's you, because again, like we mentioned, it could have nothing to do with you at all. It could be all on them. All it has to do with you is that they did it to you. And yes, it sucks. It sucks. It sucks. It sucks. Especially like when you like, I ain't doing nothing to you. I didn't deserve this at all. Like you did that to me unprovoked.
Right.
Or whatnot. And just like once you go through your process, like literally trying to be intentional of letting it go. And not revisiting it, especially if it is a person that you're going to continue being around or continuing a relationship with them, whether it's platonic or a romantic or even if it's family. And also knowing that just because you forgive someone, that doesn't mean you have to still engage with them, or put yourself in the position of being around them. Like you can forgive someone and walk away. You can, that's totally fine, but don't ever let anybody tell you how you should do it, or because it looks different for everybody.
Yeah, and the one last thing that I would tell to our cousins who are struggling with forgiving, don't expect an apology. Don't expecting an apology from the person.
Right.
Mindset, and this may be bad to say, but it kind of prepares you for it. Go in with the mindset that you're not going to get an apology, and it's okay to go into that mindset because you don't go in with these expectations, and then when your expectations aren't met, now you're more mad, and now you're back at square one. Now you're actually doing the 360.
Right.
But yeah, don't go in expecting an apology or them feeling sad or understanding why what they did may have hurt you the way that it did, or may
Right.
have you feeling the way that you are feeling about the situation. So that's the last thing I would add as far as what I would tell our cousins
For
who are
sure.
struggling with forgiving and forgiveness.
Yes. So we hope you enjoyed this two-parter. And if you haven't watched part one, go back and watch that so you can catch up to what we talked about in this conversation. And we're so happy to have y'all constantly each week viewing us. And if you haven't done so, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share, and tell a friend
To tell a friend.
to tell another friend about your cousins here on Couch Conversations. Remember that we're rooting for you, we're praying for you, and we're doing life right with you. So again, that has been another episode of Couch Conversations, and we will see you next time for our next episode.
Give me some sweet.